This is the MVP podcast where we talk to the most valuable people in sports. I'm your host, Courtney Stephen, and today's MVP is Kareem Rae, an ex-athlete turned entrepreneur with his sights set on buying a professional soccer team. Now, do you know how much a professional soccer team costs? Well, when I saw the price tag on this one, I was very shocked. So you're going to have to listen to this whole episode to get the juicy details, but tune in. And if you like it, do us a favor and subscribe. It helps us get more great guests on this show. So without further ado, here's our conversation with Kareem Rae. In all my research getting ready for this, I uncovered a very interesting fact. So would you mind telling the good people of the MVP podcast, where are you from?
Yeah, so I'm from Canada, born and raised in Brampton, close to
There we go.
Toronto,
That
30 minutes away.
that's it. That's the nugget right there, because that's why I know this was destined, meant to be, is because that's also where Jimmy and I are from. So this is gonna be a good one. So I want to get into your playing career, and now you've transitioned into the business side of sports very fast. You're a young guy making big moves, very ambitious, but I want to know how you got the audacity, which I love, to set out the goal of putting together an ownership group and starting a professional soccer team. So before we get to that, tell me a little bit about your playing career, where you've been, and what got you to this point.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time for having me on your podcast. Super excited. So I started playing at the age of 4. I'm currently 24. Again, started playing off in Canada and Brampton. A lot of talent in Brampton. I think, you're looking at 5-6 plus players from the Canadian national team from Brampton, most of the players. So a lot of talent in Brampton. The game's, it's growing slowly but surely. So it started off at the age of 4, grassroots. I still play till this day, surprisingly. Last year I took quite a break from playing, but I noticed my body started to get stiffer sitting down, working long hours. So I was like, I got to get back on the field. But yeah, long story short, for my career, I played for 2 decades, so 20 years plus, from grassroots to semi-pro. I went to England 2018. I got picked up by Reading FC, but didn't fully go through. 2019, I was in France for 3 months, trying to go pro there, figuring out the different, coming across obstacles that I wasn't prepared to go through, and facing them, and then finding the answers later on throughout my journey. And shout out to Coach Bassam from A&B Academy here in Canada, Ontario. And lastly, the last team I played for was Naples United FC, which is based in Naples, Florida. So that's on the west coast of Florida. That was an amazing experience. Shout out to Enoch Show Me. He's a part of that ownership group. Very beautiful place. They now have, so the Naples United FC, they compete in the NPSL, which is 4th division soccer in the US. And then recently, USL, which we'll be talking about shortly, they just recently announced a professional team in Naples now at that same stadium that I was playing at. It's called Paradise Coast. Very, very beautiful stadium, very beautiful complex, very new, very fresh. And it's a, what do you call it? Old money market, but beautiful place. Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah. Florida got a lot of that old money, and it's got a lot of them snowbirds too. The Canadians who go to Florida to escape what we've earned the moniker, the Great White North. They go down there, so they need their sports when they go down there. And I know Florida has a ton of athletes, so there could be no shortage of professional, semi-pro, college, all different kinds of sports in that area. I know when I was in college, there's at least a third of the team guys were from Florida. So you've got One Soccer Nation, you got the brand up in the back there, and that's based out of the United States. So tell us a little bit about how One Soccer Nation came to be real quick, and what it actually is, because you're 24 years old. When I was 24 years old, I was halfway through my rookie season in the CFL. I was just starting out playing, like you, similar, started when I was 8 years old, but you're already neck deep in the business side of the game. So tell me a little bit about One Soccer Nation, what the goal is and what you do.
Yeah, for sure. I really appreciate that question, Courtney. I'm going to take 2 steps back. 18, I wrote my first soccer book, published that. So, having that organization in my mind and being able to create something and sell it was very powerful. And then 2020, 2 years later, I started podcasting. So I've been podcasting for the last 4 years. So the first 2 years of podcasting, I was pushing that snowball up the hill. The last 2 years, that snowball is down the hill, and people come to us for interviews. A lot of intros. So it feels really amazing because again, the first 2 years was a lot of reaching out. You know, asking people to come on the podcast, all that heavy lifting. And then from 2022 to 2024, the last 2 years, started the company One Soccer Nation. And basically, our goal is to give unknown superstars the chance to go pro. And I'll add on to that. And how we plan on doing that is by launching our own professional soccer team in the US.
And that's no small task, and especially like I gotta think at 22 years old, like I was just trying to get to class. Like, so why skip all the way to having your own club as opposed to just putting on a combine or some kind of showcase, which seems like a lot more manageable and something to do. You're trying to organize capital. You're trying to, get people together to do something that is it's a large mountain to climb. What was the thought process in going that route?
Yeah, it's definitely a tall task. I got to give a big shout out to Jay Waterman, who's been my mentor. He's also the co-founder of One Soccer Nation, founder and CEO of Block Station and Illions. And he's, planted so many seeds. He's planted the book, he's planted the podcast, and he planted the company. So, I've been just watering and cultivating those seeds, and obviously, reaping some of those benefits. So I'd say first thing first for all the young people out there, having a mentor is really important to follow the steps that they've already been through. And then obviously you'll come across certain experiences that you may have to experience at firsthand. But for me, I've always been disciplined and hardworking through sport, and that's just been able to help me translate into business. I always had an entrepreneur spirit, from selling chocolate for the soccer team at a young age to, just
Mm.
being creative, selling things, and selling online is a totally different experience, and selling my own product, my book. So these experiences have helped me build up and build confidence, and then tapping into certain spaces, and connecting with certain people, has helped me elevate and move a bit faster per se. But when we talk about starting a club, we're talking about big numbers, needing a lot of help, needing a lot of people, human capital to be able to pull this off. Um, it's the reason why we want to start a professional soccer club again is to give unknown superstars the chance to go pro. And our idea and plan that we're working towards is basically to host a tryout, invite 100 men, invite 100 women, top talent, 80% from the US, 20% international, and basically be able to guarantee that we'll be able to sign 25 men and 25 women to our professional team, which would be, I'm really quite biased. You'll probably hear me mention this in other podcasts before. So a USL One franchise and to a USL Super League franchise. And to also just mention, the United Soccer League is the only league in the world, which is pretty cool, that has both professional men's and professional women's. I got that back through one of my, through shout out to Baron Van Tassel. He's the owner at Trementa FC. So again, podcasting has opened a lot of doors to many great people within the game.
Yeah, podcasting is like the ultimate networking hack because it's one thing to say, "Hey, can I get a coffee with you and ask you a few questions," which sometimes works, a lot of times doesn't. But I've done it myself and to some success and some failure. But if you ask somebody to come on your podcast and tell their story and you get an hour with that person, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, and then because of the depth of the conversation, you can build a relationship there that extends far past that. So you're providing value to them, they're giving value to you. It's like the ultimate networking hack. I actually think every athlete should have a podcast if they have the entrepreneurial bone in their body somewhere. But so you're reaching out to folks, you're getting to know people, and you're thinking about starting a USL One team. Now, for those who don't understand, just to paint the picture, what does USL One League One, like where does that fit into the spectrum of the USL, and what is the USL framework for people who are maybe new to that
Yeah,
whole
understood.
world?
I probably should have mentioned this a bit before too, but I'll mention it now. The reason for launching a team is to have that control and ownership aspect, to make decisions and to again sign players to professional contracts and change their lives. Just like how you played in the CFL, you're getting paid to play, getting paid for what you love to do. And there's millions of players that are not getting paid for what they love to do. That they're going through the trenches. They're trying to go pro, but it's not 1%. You'll hear people say 1% go pro, but it's like 0.0001 that make it, right. It's
Yeah,
very,
yeah,
very difficult to go pro. So again, that ownership aspect, that decision making aspect of it is part of the reason that we want to be able to do this. That's why we're working towards it. In regards to the league I'm biased towards, well, first let me lay out the site here in regards to the soccer pyramid in the US. You got Major League Soccer Division One, you got the United Soccer League Championship Division Two, and then you got USL League One. USL One, which is Division Three in the US soccer pyramid, and then you got two other Division Three leagues in the United States. You got MLS Next Pro, and you got NISA, which stands for National Independent Soccer Association. So there are options, but my strongest and closest relationship has been with the USL. I've been to their headquarters out in Tampa, which was amazing, beautiful place. Um, as well as back in 2022, I was at their private event down in Kentucky where we got to meet the league operators, existing club owners, and new investors that want to or are in the process of owning their own team. With saying that, the United Soccer League is North America's largest professional soccer organization, overseeing the USL Championship, USL One, and USL Super League, which is the new league that they just added, which is specifically for women's. It's Division One. So
hmm
it's super exciting.
yeah, yeah. USL Super League starting in the fall 2024. I'm not sure how many clubs they have. Is it six? Is it eight clubs?
I don't have those numbers with me.
Yeah, I gotta check that one out. But definitely, it will be interesting considering how popular NWSL has been in the news. They got that broadcast deal with CBS and those kinds of things. So they definitely been catching attention. Interesting to see how that rising tide is lifting all the boats. But so what does it take to start a USL One franchise? I know that, when I was 22, to be honest, I was flat broke. I didn't have any money. As a matter of fact, I had a net worth probably negative $21,000. I was probably still racking up the debt because I was in school at 22. Um, but these teams, they tend to be owned by groups and not individual people. So one, you got to get together a lot of expertise, right? So people who probably have expertise in specifically running an organization, people who know how to deal with licensing and partnerships, and people who know how to do tickets and whatnot. It's not just so simple as saying like all these tickets are going to be a certain price. Let's go sell them. You have to, it's a complicated business that takes some institutional knowledge. So when you're putting together the team, there's the experience and there's the capital. How much capital does it take to start a franchise, and what kind of experience do you need to put on that team to bring this to life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, looking at USL One from 2023, you're looking at a $5 million franchise fee to cover, and you need a high net worth individual that meets the criteria, which is a $30 million net worth individual willing to own 35% of the team or more. And then if you're at so I'll keep it to USL One, USL Super League. Um, Again, if that's a league that you want to expand to and do both men's and women's, you're looking at the number I've heard was 5 million. That number may change due to valuations going up. Again, soccer in America is going up. Copa America is coming up in June. 2026 World Cup is coming up, and I just I wanted to just give some facts from my sheet. Um, Again, when we talk about the opportunity to go pro, it's very low. MLS, they got 28 teams. I think now maybe 29 because San Diego, and you're looking at around 1,200 players in
Mm-hmm.
that league. 800 of those players are US based, and 445 players are foreign based. USL Championship, you're looking at 27 teams. If that
Mm-hmm.
hasn't went up, 646 American players, 306 foreign players. USL One, you're looking at 11 teams, 267 players, and 109 foreign players. And then NISA, you're looking at 14 teams that may have went up and down throughout the years. You're looking at 239 American players and 86 foreign players. So you're looking at around a total
Mm.
of, you know, let's just ballpark it around 3,000 players in total. I should have marked. I should have had a Google sheet. But again,
But that's not a huge number of players.
there's not a lot of jobs out there, playing wise.
Right.
And that's for
Hmm.
most of the sports. Um, but going back to the investment side of it, yeah, again, to your point, as you mentioned, um, I want to, touch on, you know, what it takes and uh, kind of spill the beans here a little bit and paint a picture in regards to structure. So
Yeah.
you gotta have a business plan. So first step is organization structure. So that's entity, staff, and ownership structure. What does that look like?
Hmm.
You got to establish an ownership group. So for us, we're foreigners, right? So the key thing here is having someone, a part of our ownership group that is local to the market that we're going to, because those local relationships are very important with locals, business operators, um, city leadership, chambers of commerce, and government relationship, political relationships that are going to help move this project forward.
Yeah,
And then,
and I could even attest to that too, just in my own organization, because a large part of what we do is community based.
yeah,
Like pro sports teams are the ultimate local business because you can't pick up the stadium and move it unless you got $100 million or something crazy.
yeah,
Um, so you definitely have to connect with the people who live, work, and go to school in the area. So I see what you mean. Like being foreign or being from outside of the region, you got to have somebody who's like boots on the ground at least, but preferably somebody who's from the area, familiar with the area, connected in the area.
100%. So as a foreigner, we're looking at the U.S. map. Okay, these are the existing teams. The league has territory rights. You got to select an open market, and then obviously you'd want to partner up, have someone in that market that meets the criteria of your ownership group that you want to
Mm.
welcome in. That's going to enable and open doors to again the locals, and those our relationships are very key to help move the project forward. And then from there, what are the stadium options in that market? What does that look like? Or do you have to build from the ground up? What's the budget, uh, marketing, stadium, player recruitment plan, youth development plan? That's optional. If you don't want to have a grassroots, you don't have to. And then if you just want to do men's, you can only do men's. If you want to do men's and women's, which I think is a great opportunity as women's sports, not only women's soccer is blowing up, blowing up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so those are some of the beans being spelled there in regards to you know working towards building or so not building but owning your own
yeah. And when you own your own franchise, I mean, just from my experience in the CPL, there's a great range of what that might look like on a day to day. In some organizations, the same person who's selling the corporate partnerships on match day might be the one who's moving tables around and doing other duties because you got to kind of bootstrap that at an early stage, and then as you grow and capital starts moving around and coming in, then you hire and you go. So just like a side question for you personally, like what do you feel like what is your greatest asset, or what is the skill set that you personally bring? Because I mean, it seems like you're a connector, a person with a podcast who's done well over 100 episodes. You said you've been to the headquarters of USL, you've been to these events, that events. It seems like something that either it comes naturally to you, or you don't have a problem going outside of your comfort zone to meet people. So like,
yeah
what's Kareem Ray's skill set?
yeah for sure. So I'd say from growing up in Brampton, I was growing up since kindergarten. I was always the culture over here is very mixed, right? So I was a social butterfly. I was always able to connect with different races. I'm open to different cultures, always learning, wanting to learn, and that has transitioned into sport. And I'd say networking is one of my skills. And um, I like to be in person too. So I've been to a few events. So I've also been at the United Soccer Coaches Convention in 2023 in Philly, which there was 15,000 people there. Soccer X in Miami, which was back in November. That was a bit smaller than United Soccer Coaches, but that was an amazing event. More what's the word I'm looking for? More intimate. Um,
Hmm.
I've been to, down in DC last year as well at the US Soccer Foundation event, which was more so focused on non for profit. So in-person interactions kind of help move things faster, and people get a sense to see who you are, what you're about, hear you talk, see your presence, after COVID. So, you can't do everything through Zoom. So handshakes are always good. So for me, yeah, I don't mind being on camera. I don't mind going out there, meeting people, talking footy, especially. Um, Anything from accounting. I have a little bit of an accounting background. So anything
Hmm.
from accounting to email marketing to anything marketing, social media, ads, um, to thumbnails. I'm pretty savvy in all aspects, wearing many hats for One Soccer Nation. So um, it's it's just kind of sometimes I don't even know how to do it. I either outsource it or I figure it out myself and try to keep it under a budget and you can't do everything yourself, but learn it. We got YouTube, Google, and if you
Yeah,
can't
and
do it,
that's the advantage of being a entrepreneur. And I feel like being in this generation, if you're entrepreneurial, you have all the resources and all the mentors you could want at your fingertips through the internet. Because like you said, you might not know how to do it. Where'd you learn how to do email marketing? I don't know. Maybe you learned it at school, but I'm pretty sure you didn't learn it at school. Like these are things that you can pick up if you're curious. And I asked this question because a lot of people who listen to this are either in a sports management program, or they're early in their career in sports, or they just love sports and they're passionate about it. But many of these people want to do things in the industry. And I feel like you yourself, it's like you wasted no time. Like you're 24 years old and you're swinging for the fences. So that could be inspiring to someone else who's looking at themselves like, man, I'm here. All I know how to do is just, make some cool social media graphics, or all I know how to do is talk to people. But like all I know how to do, quote unquote, is actually a superpower, if put into the right channel. And that's why I asked it, because it's like you're transferring your confidence in yourself through the conversations you have, and you're getting people to buy into this vision. And if they can start to see it, then you'll be able to bring it to life. So where do you feel you're at in this process of uh giving unknown superstars a chance to play pro soccer? Where do you feel like you're at in that journey?
when I started building One Soccer Nation 2 years ago, it's bigger than myself. It's not about me. It's about other people. It's about helping other people. It's about helping people get paid for what they love to do, and not only that, create jobs for other people, because this is a huge project. Um, so I'd say when I started building it, it just like that opened my mind, and it was like, okay, like I can't be thinking just about myself. I got to be thinking about other people and think bigger. And with
Mm.
saying that, that's what will attract other people that want to be a part of your journey and want to help build this project with you. So we have about 8 advisors with us now. We got 2 podcast co-hosts, females, super exciting. So I changed the logo pic for them. Um, they're both they both play professional soccer. One's in Denmark, playing, and the other one's in France, and they both play for the Jamaican national team. So, um, that's a full story in itself. And they're from Brampton, so the vision's growing. And again, I just mentioned that it's bigger than me, and I think that's what gives it its power.
Yeah, totally. And that's what people will buy into, right? If they can also see a little piece of themselves or what they're hoping for in what you're building. So if people wanted to tap in with One Soccer Nation, like what would be the best way for them to find out what you're doing? Or you've done over 100 podcasts. How many episodes have you done?
Yeah,
Do you
about
know?
250 plus. That's the
Did you
close.
say 250?
250. We're talking about professional soccer players that play in MLS, USL Championship, USL club
Yo,
owner.
so tell me what is your pitch? Like how do you get like now you need to give out some gems, okay? People are starting podcasts every day and they have nothing to talk about. But if you have another person on the other end who's got a great story, that podcast writes itself. How do you get these people to sit down in front of their computer and talk to you? What does the pitch in the DM look like?
It depends who we're reaching out to. I'll give a juicy one. Club owners, you know,
Mm,
high net worth individuals. Keep it short, keep it sweet, be intentional, um, and and I mean, before you reach out to that type of person, you'd want to have a track record. So I'd say that would be important. But if it's someone, if you don't have a track record yet, it's not bad, but at least have like one or two videos and make sure they were super good. Then you could reach out, like, but
mhm,
as you mentioned, what you notice with podcasting is that people want to share their story. Um, so that's one important thing to note is like with our podcast co-hosts, like they notice, like, people really want to share their story. That's what I noticed with players. Like players were the first people I started to focus on because I wanted to go pro myself. I didn't reach the highest level that I wanted to. So I was like, okay, my prime focus when I started podcasting was like, I'm going to do players only. And I was getting guys from MLS, USL Championship, USL One. I'm like, what I noticed is that there's media coverage, but there could always be more. There's not a lot from outside of it. So, and that's ask podcasts is asking questions that I was asking and tapping into what I was tapping into. So that's what I've noticed. But now you'll see a few more people out there now podcasting. But I mean, again, keep it short. Nobody wants to read a paragraph. Keep it intentional, and
mhm,
you know, I I'm really big on energy and frequencies and building up chakra. And I
mm.
heard this on a video. The most powerful tool per se is um authenticity. That speaks louder than anything else. So I mean, if people could see that without you saying anything, then I think that's powerful.
That's dope. So if you were to, let's say, what do you have a name? Like, what would your team be? Because I'm about to go through a thought experiment. Can we call it? What would you call your team? If you had a team tomorrow, you have the stadium. Forget the city, whatever. Just let's think of a team name real quick. What would you call it?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't be able to just come up with a name. The reason why is because we gotta find a market first. Once we find a market, then we could,
Okay,
the name will be based off the market. Because again, as you mentioned,
true,
community, it's a community asset.
true, smart man. Okay, so we're gonna go with a team that's based out of Indiana. Okay. I feel like there's a soccer desert in Indiana. I'm just gonna pull that out of thin air. Okay, we're gonna go with the Indiana rice patties. Okay, whatever it is. Who is the first person you're gonna hire for the Indiana Rice Parties FC um to help you fill up that stadium? You've got, let's say you got, 6 months runway. You and your partners just closed on the stadium, all the leases, the paperwork with the city and all that. The renovations are done. You got the brand out there. You did the press conference, and then you go back to the office. Who's the first hire you're making as a owner of the Indiana FC team or whichever team it is? Um, what part of your business plan? Like, tell me how you're rolling that out and how you're getting it off the ground.
Yeah, I like that question. I'll take it as a fun question. I'll change the market because there is a team in Indiana 11. I'll change it to I'll change it to Fresno. There's no team in Fresno.
Okay, because I'm exposing my soccer depth or lack thereof right here. But go ahead.
No worries. All right, we'll do because there used to be an old team there. We'll do. I think it's Modesto, California. Okay.
Okay,
I
okay.
really do like the word United. I know it's used in England, Manchester United. You got teams like New Mexico United in the U.S., but a
Hmm.
Modesto United. I feel like United, even United Soccer in the USL, United. Um, it's such a powerful word, and when we talk about a community asset, that word unites us, brings us together. I really like that word. So I do
Hmm.
Modesto United FC. Or it could
Okay, there you go.
that's what I would
You're
choose. Yeah,
thinking the brand positioning. Like, see, the brand is like what people associate you with,
yeah,
and how they what comes to mind when you say the name or you see the image. And so, if you're thinking unity, there you go. That's a great idea. So, who's the first person you're hiring for Modesto United?
Modesto. Yeah. I would go with my team. My team. We got when we used to talk about selling out the tickets. We have Fred Mathis. Yeah, he's a ticket master. Um, he's been in the game for decades, very seasoned.
Hmm.
individual and knows the game inside outside, based in the U.S. I'd get Fred a call, say, "Hey, we're ready to go. We're rolling. Let's sell some tickets." So he'd be the first person
Hmm.
I'd call. I'd also call Chris Keeney on that as well, another one of our advisors. But yeah, I mean, I guess those would be my first, and I'll add a third person, Quincy. Um, he's based in California, so he'll know the market as well. So I guess those would be my first three people I'll give a call to and say, "Hey, we're ready to go."
There you go. You're gonna get a ticket guy and a local guy, so that's smart because you got to fill up the stadium. So, Kareem, I appreciate you taking time to do this. Before you go though, here's a question that we ask everybody on this podcast: is who are your three favorite athletes, any era, any sport, and it doesn't have to be the best. It's just who are your favorite.
Yeah, my favorite athletes. I grew up, I was a big fan of Ronaldo. That was my go-to. I just liked his work ethic, his marketing, his luck. Second,
Cristiano Ronaldo or Brazilian Ronaldo?
Cristiano Ronaldo. Cristiano.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
You
yeah,
never know. It depends when you were born. Ronaldo is a
that's
different people
true.
to different people.
That,
Different
that
person
is
to different
true.
people.
That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Hmm.
Also the second person I'd do is Ronaldinho because of the creativity, and then the third person I'd choose would be Neymar.
Mm.
Again, creativity, very flashy. So, yeah,
Yeah, not bad choices. And I mean, you got some Brazilian love in there, so it's all good, man. Cool.
two Brazilian
All right.
lovers.
That's it. That's it. And you know what? Soccer is such a cool game. I was saying to somebody the other day, just in Hamilton, we got a soccer team with half of the guys speak French, the other half of the guys speak English, a couple of guys speak whole other languages that are none of the above. And when they get on the pitch, it's like everybody speaks the same language because
Exactly.
it's that they call it that beautiful game, but you could play it anywhere across the world. Everybody knows what to do. All you need is 11 aside and just put out two nets in the ball, and the rest just makes sense. So, Kareem, I appreciate what you're doing. It's a noble cause, trying to give these unknown athletes a chance to play at the highest level and earn an income from their talents. Tell people where they can keep up with One Soccer Nation and where they can connect with you.
Yeah. So One Soccer Nation on all social media platforms and www.onesoccernation.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Courtney.